What is up, everybody? So this is Shane, NativePHP, and I wanted to take a quick moment. Hopefully it's quick, but more importantly, I hope it's helpful and address push notifications for NativePHP. I think that NativePHP actually is that side of things is actually pretty straightforward and simple. There are some tricks with getting push notifications in general working. And I want to just take some time and go through that a bit. There's been a lot of comments on Discord and on YouTube and all over the place. And yeah, I think this is a great place and a good time to jump in and just let's get our hands dirty. We're going to make a new Laravel app. We're going to install NativePHP Mobile, and we're just going to get push notifications going. And I'll show you how I do it with my apps. Okay, so we're going to start where all good Laravel things start, and that's with herd. We're going to make a brand new site here. So we're just going to go ahead and add a new site. There have been some questions about using Livewire versus just Blade or React or Vue, JavaScript front end. But I'll show you some cool things about this too. So we're just going to call this push notifications. And that's fine. I don't use Volt. And we'll just say next. We'll let it do its thing. All right, looks like that's all set. Let's go ahead and open this up in good old PHP Storm. All right, so we've got NativePHP docs up, and we've got PHP Storm ready to go. So let's go into the documentation here. We're gonna open up the terminal within the project. Would we like to update? No, we're good for now. Let's go to the installation, composer.json. All right, let's go ahead and composer require NativePHP Mobile. Let's grab our E and V keys. Pop these in here. I'm going to name this Shane.push notifications. This is important. So when we set up Firebase Cloud, it's going to ask us for our app ID. Those have to match. Whatever we set up on Firebase has to match what we have for our app. So we're going to do push notifications, and we're going to leave this as debug. So let's go ahead and install NativePHP. PHP artisan native install. I'm going to install Android and iOS, and we don't require ICU. This is a filament app, so we don't need that. And we're not doing any internationalization or anything like that. All right, so let's go ahead and continue. So this is a Livewire app, and I'm going to start with, well, let's get the app running first. So PHP artisan native run Android build equals debug. We're going to boot up the Pixel 9 Pro API 35. That's fine. Excellent. All right, we've got our app up and running. Let's get it ready for push notifications. So there are some docs here. Let me just shrink this down. We're going to go into concepts and push notifications. And it's going to give us some instruction here. I'm going to fast forward through a bunch of this for you. So it starts with, first of all, we have to set up our permissions. So if we go into php.php, if we scroll to the bottom here, we have our permissions. For this app, we just need push notifications to be true. That's going to set up our permissions from for iOS and for Android. We're going to have to go into our Firebase account. So let's go ahead and take a better look at Firebase. So inside of Firebase, I've already got an account set up. I'm going to create a new Firebase project. We're going to call this push notifications. I think that's right. Let's put a hyphen in here so it's a little bit better. All right, cool. We don't need to enable analytics. We're not concerned with that right now. We're going to give this just a moment. Firebase project is ready. Let's go. All right, so again, we're going to start with Android, and we're going to work on iOS after that. So get started by adding Firebase to your app. So we're going to click on Android. We have to put our Android package name in here. So let's go ahead and grab this from our env. We're just going to call this push notifications, and register the app. This is going to take just a second, but what it's going to do is give us this google-services.json file. So let's download this. We're going to click next, We're going to click next, and we're going to continue to console. Great. Let's go ahead and grab that file. We're just going to paste it into the root of our project directory. So let's grab it and pop it in here. Yep. Let's go ahead and open up. Well, actually, that's all we need for that. Now we get to work on the application. So that's really all of the setup that we really need for this. So the way I like to interface with Android while I'm building this out, I'm going to run the run command again, but I'm going to add watch to it. That doesn't watch like things like NPM. It doesn't watch things like JavaScript. It's really great for Livewire for now. We do plan to make that better, of course. But it's going to watch pretty much everything that we need to inside of app, as well as some of our resources, as long as we save things. It can be a little bit temperamental at times, and we might have to restart it. But yeah, I'm just going to not cut away some of that stuff so you can see how I actually develop apps. So let's do watch. And while that's running, we're going to go ahead and do a, let's do PHP Artisan Livewire make. We'll make this a home page. That's fine. And let's go to our web.php. And instead of returning this view here, we're going to return that home Livewire class. Excellent. We'll make sure that this is up and running, and we should see if I save this. Uh-oh, it couldn't find it. It couldn't find it, and that's fine, which means it's reading the web.php. It couldn't read that because when we bundled this up to put the app, to start the app, it didn't exist yet. So I think if I just go into Livewire home.php, and if I just like put a space in here and save it, and watch that synchronize, it's still not working. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this just because I don't want to deal with it. It's pretty quick to get this up and running again. We should end up with like a blank page here. All right, 97%, 100%, here we go. So hopefully we just see a blank white page. All right, that's fine too. The v manifest was not found. So this is somewhat common. And I've done this enough times with the Laravel starter kit to know exactly how to handle this. Any Livewire component by default is going to use the views, components, layouts, app.play.php. This is using that sidebar. So sidebar includes this partials.head, which we want, but first of all, let's run npm run build. First of all. Second of all, let's use nvm use v22, npm run build. But also inside of the sidebar, we have, there's some logic here for like if the user is authenticated. We're not going to worry about any of that stuff for this. So I'm going to take away like all of this sidebar stuff. We don't need that for this demo. So it's just the include partials.head, the slot, the flux scripts, and then inside of our head, we have the flux appearance, I believe. Yep. We don't even need the JavaScript. We'll take that out. And let's go ahead and update our app. Again, like I said, it can be a little temperamental. It's not a perfect science, the watch command, but when you are in the right spot, it does make prototyping much quicker. So getting things a little bit set up initially might take a little bit of time, but after that, we should be good to go. No Vite problems, great. All right, so let's go into our home.play.php, and we should see if I just make a little change here. Hello. Should see that pop up. Great, that's exactly what I was looking for. Let's go ahead and make a flux button. We'll make it variant equals primary wire. Oh, look at AI. Look at AI knowing. Oh, look at this. Look at this. This is wonderful. All right, so let's do, all right, we need this function and we need this token property. If I save, yep, it's going to say we don't have the token property. So let's go back and go to our home component. We're going to make a public, let's spell things properly, public string token equals an empty string. And then we're going to make our get token function. Look at AI. Look at AI. This is wonderful. Native mobile facades. We need the push notifications, and I'll explain this stuff too. All right, so the way things currently are, whether you're on iOS or you're on Android, things are a little bit different. I've wrapped up the function for Android so that the first time it pops up, it's going to ask you for permission. Whereas with iOS, we've extracted that out into 2 separate calls. I know it's a little bit confusing. That's the way that it is for today. We do plan to settle on one of these. And I'm actually leaning towards going for this setup where you're asking for the permission from the user, and then at some point later you can request that token from FCM. Let me explain a little bit about how this all kind of works. So we need permission from the user. So we have to tell the app itself that this app has permission. Google and Apple are like, okay, this app can have permission to ask permission from the user to do push notifications. Then we have to ask the user directly for permission. When we do that, we have the ability then to reach out to FCM. This is an HTTP call under the hood that goes off to FCM, and it asks for a token. So when it makes that request to FCM, Firebase, there are some things for iOS that are required. There needs to be some token or some authentication done for iOS, where you don't need that for Android. So we're going to do the easy one with Android first, and then we're going to do the little bit trickier method with iOS. All right, so we've got our function set up here to get the token. Let's go ahead and take a look at the docs. All right, inside of the docs, we can see that we have this listener. We have to copy this code. Again, there's 2 ways to go about listening for this event. Both of them are going to be, well, I guess technically one's going to be in the on the Vue React side. But let me show you how to do this with Livewire, and then I'll show you another way to do it just with Laravel event listener. So let's hop back into our code. We're going to paste this function in here. Now this is assuming that we've got a this API service, and we're going to send the token to our API. Our server really should be the one that is responsible for broadcasting push notifications. We're not going to build out the whole server for this demo. I'm going to do everything inside of the same app, and it's going to kind of replicate what you're doing in the server on the API side. But we're just not going to bother with setting up the whole server right now. And so for this, we're just going to say this token equals token. Thank you, AI. And just go from there. So let's save. Let's bring up our emulator again. And this time when we hit get token, and we could see right away, it's asking Laravel, allow Laravel to send you notifications. First of all, that name comes from the env app name. We can change that to whatever we want to. And so we're going to say allow, of course. Now that we've given permission to the app, we're going to click the button again, and it's going to request that notification token. So there's the token that's coming directly from FCM. I'm going to go ahead and copy this. So this should bring it to our clipboard, and yep, we've got it on our clipboard. We don't have any users set up. We didn't do anything with that. Again, this is all going to be typically done on the API side, where you have users set up and you'll have like a token column on users, or you'll have a relationship with tokens because a user could have multiple devices and you'll want all of their devices to get notifications, that kind of thing. Since we're not going to set up the API server backend, we're going to do everything inside of the same app. But we do need that token. So let's spend a little bit of time setting up our database locally, and I'll show you how we're going to interface with this. There is a package that I found the other day that I really, really liked, and I want to draw your attention to it. So let's go into Chrome and look at this. Well, not that. Let's go to Mock Designs, Syntech FCM. So what this does is really nice. It interacts with FCM, and it allows you to just set up some env keys that you'll put on your API, your server backend. And it allows you to do Laravel notifications that broadcast as a push notification to that user. So let's go ahead and go through the setup of this. I'm going to close this down and we're going to compose a require. Let me get these side by side. Just for now, we can go ahead and we'll just create a user. And we're going to want to do a couple things here. So we need to publish our configs. We're going to add some env keys to our env. And I'll show you where to get these from. Let's go ahead and we need to create another column to store the push token. So I think by default, it's calling a device token. So let's add a migration, PHP artisan, make migration, add device token to users, add device token to users. All right, we want this to be a string called device token, nullable after, not after device token, let's do it after email. That's fine, and then we can roll them back if we want to. So table, drop column, device token. Let's migrate, PHP artisan, migrate. Excellent. Now I'm gonna just, again, this is all being done manually for now, but normally this would be done with your API. You would send the device token through the API to your backend API and store that token for that user either on as a column right here or on or as a relationship type. So let's go ahead and refresh this. We should see device token. It didn't put it where I wanted it to go, but that's all right. Let's go back into our home where we copied this. And let's just paste that in. Device token, paste. Let's make sure there's no empty strings. It's trimmed up nicely. And we will go ahead and save. Excellent. Now, I'm just going to tinker in the browser. I'm just going to like DD some stuff here. Let's go ahead and go to our web.php. Let's make a test route. I know these are awesome, awesome, awesome ways of developing. Function. Okay. This can't be home. In fact, we don't even need a name for this one. All right, so we're going to get user equals user find one, or we can just do first. And let's import the user class. And let's just make sure that's working. DD that user, which of course it should be. All right, that took a little longer than I thought it would, but we do have our device token here for the user. Nice. Let's go ahead and get our env keys set up, and I'll show you how to do that. So if we go back into Firebase Cloud, and we go into project overview, project settings, here we go. This is the project ID here inside of general. So we can paste that one in. The client email, if you go to service accounts, you can see that Firebase created a service account for us and it's got this email address. So we're going to paste that in. And then on the bottom of this same page, we have to generate a new private key. That's going to download this file. It's a JSON file. And I'm just going to right click and open with text edit. And this is what it looks like. So what you need to do is find this private key spot. And I copy everything from the quotation mark all the way to the quotation mark. So we're just going to copy that. And we're going to hop into PHP Storm. And we're going to go back to our env. And I'm just going to paste it right here. Again, this would all be set up on like your Forge server, your env inside of your Forge server. But we're just mimicking all that for now. Next, let's go back to the Syntech FCM. And it's what's really nice again about this is that it's set up perfectly to just do user notify and then some notification. So let's go ahead and create a notification. So we're going to do PHP artisan make notification order received notification. How about that? Now, normally that would take like an order object and you could pass in like the title and body and all that stuff. Let's hop in there. Order received notification. Let's make this a bit bigger. All right, we don't need any constructor for this. And we're not going to do a mailable. We're going to do to FCM. All right, we need all of this code here. So let's just copy this. And paste it in over all of this. We have nothing in here. We're just going to paste all this in here. Now, we do need this FCM notifiable method on our user as well, which is here. So we just need to add this, and that's going to tell Laravel, hey, if you're looking for a way to notify this person, get their device token from the user model. All right, let's go back into PHP Storm. Let's go to the user model. Scroll all the way down. We're just going to add this in here. Yep, cool. Now, back in our web.php, now that we have a user, let's go ahead and say user notify new order received notification. Import. It doesn't accept anything in the constructor, so we don't even need that. And that should work. Let's see if it does. So if I just reload this page, we should see a notification come into the app. So let me get the app redeployed. So we're going to do, let's make this last 2/3. All right, let's do native run build equals debug watch. Okay, let native PHP do its thing. Now again, we've already got our token. We don't need that again. And the way that push notifications work, back in the old days, you had to have the app actually backgrounded. But with the recent builds of native PHP, this should actually just work. So I'm going to just slide this over here, and I'm going to move this here, and we're just going to refresh and see what happens. Hey, what do you know? We got our push notification. So there's our notification body, our notification title. If we go into our order received notification, this would be something like your order has been received. Congrats. We will let you know when we ship your order. Something like this. And we can pop this open. Let's get rid of that and just refresh again. And with any luck, yeah, we've got our push notification here. Your order's been received, congrats, and all that's working. This does work as well with like backgrounded apps. So if we just close the app completely and we refresh, we still have one up here. Let's go ahead and clear that out. Clear all, that's fine. And then refresh. And we've got our app working, our push notification working on Android. Perfect. Now, the fun bits. One, let me show you how you can actually check to see, remember I told you we could actually listen on the Laravel event listener side. Let me show you how to do that if you're not using something like Livewire. I'm going to go back into my, into home. Let me try again, into home. And instead of this token generated listener right here in Livewire, we're going to use that same button in order to generate the token, but let's create a listener to actually interface with it. So we're going to close this down. We're going to make a listener. So PHP artisan make listener token received listener. Cool. And we'll go into that token received listener, and there's nothing in the constructor. Now this is going to handle that same token generated event. And for now, we're just going to log print r event. It's going to be an array, so we'll say true. That's actually, I think it's an object, but that works either way. So this should just work. Now, where is this going to log to? Just think about this for a second. This is an event listener that's inside of the app. How would we see those logs? And I get this question a lot. People are looking inside of their IDE for those logs. It's not going to happen. It's inside of the app. It's inside of the device. So for Android, I created another function. Let's go ahead and start our emulator up. And when this is running, we have to wait for this to start running. All right, so as long as the app is running, if we go in here and into a new terminal window, we can do PHP Artisan native tail. Again, this only works right now for Android. I just added this because I knew that people were struggling to see their logs from within the app. iOS is a bit tricky. I keep saying that. I should have a shirt that says iOS is a bit tricky. But let's go ahead and run this. And there we have it. So these are actual logs that are inside of our device. And if I click get token, we should see down here a new line pop in with that token. And there it is. So that is our token that's on the event. So if I do, I think it is an object. So if we do token like this and we save and we have that hot reload, let's see if that works. Click there. Yep, there we go. So that's just the raw token. So we actually can interface on the event listener side as well. So you can have your users interacting and receiving that FCM token from Firebase, and then have the event handler actually be the one that's responsible for sending that to your API or however you want to do that. Instead of putting it into PHP, listening for it somewhere in PHP and having it come back into JavaScript to send it off via Ajax or something weird like that, just do it all right here. This works on iOS too. You just don't have the same level of visibility that you do with Android into the logs. Next, let's go ahead and tackle iOS. We're going to say goodbye to Android for now. We'll go ahead and stop this tail. We're going to stop the watch. We're going to clear this up. And let's get an emulator working for Android, or for iOS. So we're going to do PHP Artisan native run iOS build equals debug. It should ask me, where do I want to? All right, so this is again some trickiness. Number one, simulators for iOS will not show push notifications. You can't see the push notifications. It doesn't request them, even if you set up your APNs, all of that stuff. It's just not going to work. Number two, you can use your physical device if you set up your device with Xcode. However, if I do a screen mirroring for the stream, you're not going to see, it actually silences notifications. So I'm going to lock my phone up. I'm going to do screen mirroring. You're going to see my home page. And we're gonna just select my device, and we're gonna give this just a minute to pop up. We'll let it build, let it do its thing. There's some interesting things with iOS that you have to use Xcode for, at least initially, and this is exactly what I thought would happen. So we're gonna do PHP Artisan native open iOS. That's gonna open Xcode for me. Great. And a couple of things that you have to pay attention to when working with your app inside of Xcode. I am by no stretch of the means, by no manner of speaking, in no way, shape, or form am I an expert on iOS or on Xcode specifically. But I do know how to get things to kind of work. So if I look at my native PHP target here, and I go to signing and capabilities, it's got some other team selected here. I need it to be my team. All right, this is going to be part of all of the setup that goes into play with the push notifications as well. So this is the bundle identifier. If I select my team, okay, my Shane Rosenthal team, it's going to try to validate that. It does not have this identifier, even though this looks successful, it doesn't have this identifier inside of my developer account. So I'm going to open up Chrome. I'm going to go to developer.apple.com. I'm going to go to account. I'm going to go to identifiers. I'm going to click the plus sign. It's an app ID. I'm going to say continue. It's an app. I'm going to say this is push notifications. And I'm going to add that bundle ID. And we have to give it whatever capabilities we want it to have. So in this case, it's just push notifications. So we're going to click the box here for push notifications. We're going to say continue. We're going to say register. Interesting. So it doesn't like push notifications being available. All right. I must have used this before. So I'm gonna do something that's a little bit different, but it's still gonna work. So I'm glad you're seeing this because you might run into this as well. So let's go back. Let's make this like push notifications demo or something. We're gonna copy that. We're gonna say continue. We're gonna say register. And I have to delete things, and I must have had one in here someplace before. Either way, let's go back into our app. Let's go back into PHP Storm, and we're going to change our env to that push notifications demo. And I'm going to run this again for iOS. And I know what you're thinking, because I'm thinking the same thing too. This is changing things for Android, right? It is, but I'll show you how to fix that. So we're going to say iPhone. It's still going to fail, I think, because we have to get this built first for Xcode to identify it so that we can then re-provision it essentially. So we'll give that a minute. Yeah, there we go. So now it's updating Xcode now. That's looking better already. Let's see how this is going. If it seems stuck, which it does, which is kind of strange, I've not seen that. We'll go ahead and tail this. Yeah, it's still building. It's still doing things. Go ahead and close that down. There we go. Deploying app to your device. Don't see it. There it goes. Cool. It's actually running. Interesting. Now, I'm still not hopeful that we're going to see a token appear here for a couple of reasons. One, we changed this to actually just looking at it inside of the event listener. So let's undo that again a bit. I believe we have to set up, we do have to set up Firebase for iOS. And there's a couple steps involved there. So now that we've got this building on our phone, let's go ahead and continue setting up FCM for iOS. We're going to go back into our push notifications app. We're going to go back into general. We're going to scroll down and we have our apps here. We're going to add another app. And this is going to be for iOS. We need that same, did I copy it here? I did not, but it is right here. We need that identifier. We're going to call it push notifications demo. We're going to register the app. That takes just a second. It's going to give us a Google Services plist. We're going to download this plist. We're going to open this up. We are going to drag it as well into the root of our project. Right there, right into the root of the Laravel project. We're going to say yes. We're going to refactor. We're going to love it. We're going to say next. We're going to say next. We're going to scroll to the bottom, say next, and continue back to the console. Now, inside of, I believe, cloud messaging, there's this new iOS app. What we have to do is go and get an APNs authentication key. And Pretty easy to do this, but it looks like they just added a new development and production. This used to just be one. It's pretty easy to do, but if you don't know that you need to do this, it's very easy to miss it. So what we're going to do is go back into our developer account. We're going to go to keys. We're going to create a new key. So this is push notifications demo. Usage description, don't care, and Apple push notifications. Service must have environment and type configured. So go ahead and configure. We're going to use the same one for sandbox and production. That's fine for this purpose. We're going to say save. We're going to say continue. We're going to register. We're going to say, we already reached the maximum allowed number of team scoped keys for this service in production and sandbox. Well, that's okay. Let's go back to all my keys. I've actually created one of these yesterday. I can go back into my app and download that one. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so I've got this. It's a P8 file. I'll go ahead and show you some of these things. So this is all my files. This auth key P8 file, that's the one that I created yesterday. I'm just going to go ahead and grab that one. That is where you would set up your keys at, though. So once you have your P8 file, you're going to come in here and you're going to upload it. You're going to say browse. We're going to choose that P8 file. We need the key ID, so that's going to be in here. So that's the one I did yesterday. So that's this. And the team ID. So the team ID is going to be up here in your developer account. We're just going to copy that as well. It's in another number of places, but that's a pretty quick way to grab it. All right, we'll say upload. And yeah, looks like we've got that all set. So perfect. Cloud Message API Legacy. Think we're good to go. Let's see what happens when we deploy this. Now, because we did add that plist to the root directory, we have to put that inside of the app. We're going to have to run this anyway. So let's go ahead and bring up our phone and run iOS build debug again. We'll give that a moment. You can see that NativePHP has detected that info plist file and it's copied it over. We're going to use a version on disk. We don't really have to do much here. I do like to make sure, I'm just looking to see, yep, push notifications are enabled. This all comes from the config, the NativePHP config file, and we should be all set. All right, let's see what we get. Token not generated yet. Get the token. There's our asking for permissions. We're going to say allow. We're going to click again. Oh, we didn't even have to. Look what we got. We got our token here. Yeah. All right. So we've got that copied. Cool. So let's go ahead and remove that from here. And we're going to go into our database. We're going to change that device token for this user. I know that seems a little like we're going to lose this one. I don't really care. That you can always get another token or get it again. I'm going to save it in here. I'm going to make sure it's there's no extra empty spaces or anything. We're going to save that on the database. We're going to slide this over, and we're not going to see the notification here, I think. We're going to refresh this page. We didn't get any errors, but we don't see notification. But I'm pretty sure if I also have do not disturb on so to make the video. So there's that. Let's turn do not disturb off. All right, let's try this again. So let's see if this works. It looks like it did not. It took a second. It just popped in. Yep. So there's our push notification. Additionally, I got it a couple times here. Additionally, if it's even foregrounded now, we're going to test that as well. Even if the app is foregrounded, we still get the push notification. That is push notifications. Again, this process is quite difficult. regardless, right? Whether it's native PHP or not, you still have to do all this FCM setup, etc. We do try to make it as simple as possible, where you can just grab those files, drop them into the root directory of your project, run it, and you have to figure out all the setup stuff anyway. Get that token, store it in your API for that user, and be on your merry way. And now you have push notifications with native PHP. All set. I hope that calms some of the questions down, but of course, we're always welcome and willing to answer any questions you've got. Talk to you guys later.